see. That's okay. We'll talk about it. Okay. So we're gonna call the meeting to order, 6 o'clock. Review and approve the minutes for September 6th meeting.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay,
Second?
all right. We have some discussion on the minutes. There was we got a
Email request.
email request on a correction on the minutes and stated there was a deed concern. So I don't know, we
So I
just
just eliminated all the conversation and
just said,
said it was. a
we
deed
stated,
concern.
we talked about Goodfella Road, a deed concern, is what we were, and that was just the edited, the edited,
Yep.
does that seem fair?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on the minutes?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor of the minutes for September 6th meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are done. But we need to make that adjustment, right? So do we sign these?
Yeah, I've made it.
Okay, so you're all set.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, you have a little note, yeah, okay. Okay. So, adjustments to the agenda. Do we have any adjustments to the agenda for tonight?
Table Jim if he comes later and put him in then.
Okay, so Jim Langlois, then we have Green Mountain Power representative, electric car charging station. So, those people,
Is that you?
That's me.
okay,
How best to, should I just stand up and present?
Sure,
Is that
yeah,
okay?
that sounds good.
yeah, we usually do a little dance.
Oh, a little comedy routine. So I'm Tiana Smith. I'm head of electrification at Green Mountain Power, and Dennis asked me to come and speak to you a little bit about electric vehicles and electric vehicle car charging. I understand that he talked to you a couple weeks ago about the state grant that GMP is helping administer right now, and so I just kind of wanted to talk in general about what's happening at the state level with electric vehicles, the trends that we're seeing out there, why this is something that's a great thing for your community to be thinking about and looking at, and why it's also really timely because of the money that's available. So right now in the state of Vermont, we have around a little over 10,000 electric vehicles that are registered right now. That's a huge jump. It's like 300% increase over recent years. That's for a lot of different reasons. There is a lot of money out there right now, both federal incentives as well as state incentives, utility incentives that are encouraging people to drive electric. Transportation is the #1 source of carbon pollution in the state of Vermont and also in the entire US. So it's the easiest way for people to cut their carbon and cut their costs right up front. And so we're seeing a huge trend. You're seeing a lot more vehicles out on the market than there used to be. We have a fleet of about 40 Lightning now as part of our fleet at GMP. So we've got our field guys out there using them, loving them, operating them even during storm restoration, showing that they work, and they work for the purposes of actually doing work, getting work done. And so the trend is going to continue where we're going to see more and more and more of these on the market. And it's not sort of mandated at this point that everyone drives electric, but that's where it's moving towards, where eventually you won't be able to find vehicles. Vehicles won't be sold in Vermont that are internal combustion engines, and that's not out until 2035 time frame, but this is a good time for a lot of people to be thinking about transitioning. So GMP offers for people to get into electric vehicles $2,200, or if there's an income add of an additional $1,000, so $3,200 to purchase an all-electric vehicle. You also get a level 2 charger that needs to be installed by an electrician. That brings you up to a pretty good charge in 4 to 6 hours, depending on the size of your battery and range and all of that. And then it also gets you on discounted electric vehicle rates, which are equivalent of about $1 a gallon. So We all know that what gas is costing right now. And so a lot of people, because of the long-term maintenance costs as well as those the less expensive fuel, are also choosing to go electric. So the one of the things that might give people pause in deciding to go electric for transportation is the availability of electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So there are a couple of ways to charge your vehicle. You can just plug it into the wall and do a trickle charge, and in like 100 days you get fully charged. Not really, but it's a slow charge. The level 2 is the faster charge. 30, 40 amps. You're putting that into your garage. Again, we get that for free, but you need an electrician to get that together. There's also those level 2s that are out in communities. Same speed at which you're able to charge up those vehicles, and then there's also fast chargers. So you might hear those called DCFC or fast chargers or level 3 chargers. And those are the ones that, 100 kW, 150 kW are going to get you charged up a lot quicker. So in the 30, 40 minute time frame. So still not quite as fast as getting gas, but it's getting there. Batteries are getting to the point where they can take faster charges, and battery chargers, those level 3 chargers, are getting bigger as well. So the state, through ACCD and the Department of Housing and Community Development, had a $7 million grant that they were looking for someone to help administer for them. GMP has a lot of experience getting people into these electric vehicle chargers, both workplace charging and then obviously residential as well. And we own and operate fast chargers, so we applied. We are the administrators of that grant, so $7 million, and so multifamily, so apartment housing, workplace charging, and then community benefit or community attraction. So when you think about towns and communities, those are 3 ways that you can apply for these grants, and it takes care of a large portion of the cost, both of the electric, what we call make-ready infrastructure. So that's any upgrades that need to happen to your service line in order to put that in, as well as the chargers, as well as everything that kind of goes along with that. And so if you're a for-profit business, you have to come up with a 10% match. If you're a nonprofit or a town, it's a 5% match. And if you're a woman or minority-owned business, there's no match required. And so we have all kinds of caps and stipulations and tons of rules around this that I know Dennis passed out last week. We have a whole website dedicated to this, but I think the really important thing is if this is something that you are thinking about doing, this is the time to do it. And it's the time to apply, even if you haven't necessarily met with an installer or an electrician. It's, to say that you're interested in it would be great, because a lot of, we have caps around counties and how much each county is allowed to have. Chittenden, as you can probably imagine, has a ton of applications, whereas we don't have as many applications in more rural parts of our state. So a town like Groton would be a great place to put in a level 2 charger or even a fast charger. So the other thing that we're going to be rolling out this fall is for the community attraction, there's a little over $1 million that's available for a fast charger, to install a fast charger. And I think Dennis told me, and I think it's pretty accurate, the closest charger is like 20 miles away.
Well, there's one in Peachum, right?
Oh yeah,
Peachum's probably the closest to that.
Yeah, I was just in Peachum on Sunday.
Yes.
For their celebration. Yeah. Yeah. So great spot to
I
have
couldn't
it.
imagine us putting in something that wouldn't be a fast charger, and like you were saying, it takes hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would think a fast charger would be like
The way to go, because somebody would pull in a half an hour,
Yeah.
they could charge your car, and then they would be on their way or whatever, right?
Sure. So the reason why we have, by practice, we have put in, where we put in fast chargers, we put in a level 2 charger right by it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Sometimes people are going and they're spending some time, they might want to recreate, or if they're pulling up to a park, or they're like taking a walk around, or they want to shop, or you want them to stay in town and shop for a little while. That's a great time to put in a level 2, or if it's for workplace, So somebody that's coming and,
Right, which we don't have any of that stuff.
you don't have any workplaces?
Well, no, I mean, nobody would be coming here to necessarily
Sure.
hang out unless we can put it like over on
Yeah.
the trail and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, so I
So,
guess,
yeah, so it sounds like the fast charger would be
okay.
desirable for
So-
this area.
So let's say that's interesting, right? So a 5% match for the town, right?
So what are we talking in numbers when we talk about that then?
Yeah, so a fast charger is, you've got the cap right in front of you. I'm sorry, I have a lot of numbers rolling around in my head right now, so I don't wanna see anything. No, so you would get, I mean, I know what a level 3
Well,
charger costs. So if you put in, it depends, there's all kinds of factors, but let's say you wanna just put in one fast charger that has 2 ports,
Okay.
so 2 cars could
Yep.
charge at one time. It's gonna be probably around $80,000 to put that in.
Okay.
And so
So
your
we would get
match of that,
5% match
yes,
on that,
yes.
okay. Which would be 5% of 80 is
$4,000.
Which is not bad.
no.
And as a GMP customer, you get $1,500 stacked on top of that, so it would be $2,500.
Okay, but so, we had originally maybe talked about that
We can put in things and then we get money back for that, or something you pay to charge your car and it goes back to the town. Is that, what's
Yeah.
that?
So that's absolutely you would just want to make sure that whatever charger that you put in is networked, so that you have the ability to do that. You could charge for people charge for people to charge there. And I think the important part there is that in the past, when you would have to come up with this full investment on your own, $80,000, it's gonna be a very long time and a lot of charges before you see that money back. When you're investing $2,500 to $4,000, you can see that investment back a lot quicker.
okay,
I think this all sounds great. I think, it's definitely something that we're, as a town, are interested in, for a lot of reasons, not just residential, but we do get a lot of tourism,
Yeah.
ecotourism in the area. That kind of leads to my question, which is, what is the state doing in some of the state parks as far as looking at charging opportunities? Groton State Forest has, and, the surrounding campgrounds and stuff are, they're all, we get a lot of people that are going
Yeah.
that direction. I'm just curious if the state has actually started to look at or has shown interest in putting out some of that infrastructure in some of their parks.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I am not as familiar with that sort of long-term plan that the state has around electric vehicle charging. What I do know is that the conversations have been, that's a great place to put a level 2 charger, because someone rolls up, they go for a 4 or 5 hour hike, and good place to put that, as long as you have electric infrastructure nearby that can support that. The one thing that I do know that the state is doing sort of more immediately is that there is $21 million coming in to the state from the federal government through something called National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure. And so that is planning, that the point of that money is to put fast charging every 25 miles on major federal highways within a mile of the exit, which doesn't help Groton.
no,
But it's something to be thinking about in terms of just like how is this network being built out, and how is the state thinking about it? So that's kind of, I would say, their next priority. But what we're trying to show with this grant that we're putting out, which is workplace, community attraction, and multifamily, is that there's interest, people are wanting to put these in, and that the next tranche of dollars that are available could be looking at state parks, or could be looking at kind of the next best place to be putting these chargers in.
right.
So, and that's kind of where, for me, it's trying to forward think. I wouldn't want us to build something
Yeah,
on town property that's out towards the forest if the state's gonna put charging out there. I think, for free. Right? Why would we pay for something that they're gonna put
And
in?
why would we wanna do it? I mean, what's the benefit to the town? Why does this benefit the town? And how does it benefit the
Yeah.
town? If people in town own an electric car and they charge all their cars at home,
Right.
we don't need you know what I mean? So it's
So I
just,
think that's the, passing through, we are trying to build our community center a little bit more. looking at, especially as we look at the infrastructure project we're doing here already, how do we incorporate something like this now before we redo our entire parking lot, and then we're gonna dig up part of that to put in, fast charger as part of it, because I've seen what the project is in Bradford, and it's, pretty in-depth, to do that, so, that's kind of where thinking through it, but I think there is interest. I think more people may come this direction for recreational purposes if, especially those out-of-staters who have electric vehicles that are coming this way, have a place to charge their vehicle.
And then they're here for 40 minutes
Yeah,
or longer.
Right.
And so, then there's.
I'm just worried, what are they gonna do for 40 minutes?
sit at the gazebo.
You can't kill it. Then maybe we can put something in there that makes money for the town,
Well, but
right?
again, that's my thinking, I think of somebody who is, out of the campground, right? They have an electric vehicle, they go to the campground, they want somewhere to charge their vehicle.
Yep.
They come here, we've got activities in the summertime at the library, we've got, Sarkeys downtown, we're working on the Vork stuff that's gonna connect to the rail trail. Again, it's all of those things that are trying to, could pull us together and pull things to the town that we don't necessarily have now.
Dan?
I have a couple of questions. You said there's been a tremendous increase in the number of electric cars. Do you know where that increase is?
Where it's
For the
happening?
state? Yes.
Yeah, I would say it's I don't have those exact numbers. I would say if you look at the numbers, you're gonna see it primarily happening in Chittenden County.
Okay. Who handles the maintenance after the charger's put in?
So that is, it's part of all of this. The installer that you work with, there's usually maintenance packages that you can add on to that.
It would be borne by the taxpayer?
It would be borne through the total cost of the, so when you're looking at the total cost to install the charger, a maintenance package would be included in that usually.
And that's a
And you
yearly
would require
package?
that, and then that's part of the package that gets paid for.
That's
So
a-
if it gets damaged or backed over or something,
Who pays for that?
Well, you're the owner and operator of
So we
the,
pay for it.
you would pay for it, but you would also insure it, and it would be an asset in the way that you.
Again, I think to where I think Tristan was going earlier, and where I would see us looking at, this as a potential revenue source would be to cover those costs. So it wouldn't be taxpayer borne. It would be non-tax budget through, the expense for people that are charging at the station. Because we would have the ability to do that, you know what I mean?
And you would put up bollards and all kinds of things, because you don't want.
No, I know, but you never know.
Tremendous amount of charging going on, and I'm thinking there's 1 or 2 cars in Groton that's electric right now.
I would say,
I know one.
I know 2. So
Yeah, and
I get that. I
The
get
cars
what
in Groton, most
I'm
people
not
are
worried
gonna
about
go
those.
home and plug your
Right,
car.
so you're not gonna pay
No,
extra down here.
no.
No,
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure that's true, because people who rent are not unlikely to have capacity to charge at home. So I think long-term, you will have community members who will need access.
and I think too, it's not necessarily what's happening, what the current state is. I think part of what programs like this are designed for is to be forward-thinking, that if we put this in place, it gives people the opportunity to have a location charge. And again, that's the direction the automotive industry is going right now, is to create, is to try to, they obviously are for-profit organizations, are trying to make money off of cars, but, again, if we put something like this in, it gives a resource that's not here now that can be a benefit in the future.
So if you were to say, yeah, go ahead and get a fast charger or 2, whatever, to go with this project already, that makes 5 or 6 projects we've got going without one single one completed. Would it make more sense to complete a couple and then look forward?
And I
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, like, that's part of the reason why we put the culvert in across 302 out here, because we knew that we're gonna have to do that anyway, and they were tearing the road up at the same time, right? That's why with this, I mean, if you haven't driven downtown Bradford, you should see what the construction is, Cause they have to put in a concrete pad to put all this stuff, like, you know,
That's what I'm
right.
saying, you've already spent.
So,
Well, but I mean,
don't know
again, if
we
we're-
have the
we're
room
ex-
out here to do
Right.
all that stuff, but
well, out here, no, but I, you know, I'm thinking.
if we were gonna
is it
do
something that we
something,
could
it
do
would-
out back of here
at
where
the
we're.
park maybe would be a good place, so.
And I would say that this grant money is, I mean, once it's gone, it's gone. And we haven't seen a program like this.
So we can put in for a grant and then decide whether we wanna go forward with it or not.
It's gonna be a competitive process for the fast chargers. So I would say we want people who are serious about putting in a fast charger.
But we don't know yet.
Yeah, well, if you're interested, I mean, it's an $80,000
Right.
asset that you could be paying 5% towards.
What do you think, Galen?
I would be in favor of putting a fast charger in town, probably like in the park area. I think long-term, I don't think it's gonna cost the town anything. I think long-term would be a revenue generator, and convenience. And, I like the idea of making somebody have to spend 40 minutes in the town of Groton. I think Sarkees in the library appreciate, you know.
Okay, what, just a second, Dorothy.
So, if we decide today we want to do this, then what's the time frame? How soon do we have to spend the money?
So, we have not even announced the fast charger application process yet. That will be coming, I would say, in the next month or so.
Oh, okay.
And then I think we're requiring that it's installed within a year.
So we have
Of
time
grant
for
approval,
discussion,
right, so,
more discussion on it and to talk about it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, what,
I think it's good to do some legwork around what would it cost, so that you can make, you know, a meeting with an installers. I heard someone's related to an electrician.
yeah.
Maybe not. But like someone who can give you a sense as to what those costs would be, and we can help recommend those types of installers as well
Right.
as part of this program. But I think it's a good, timely thing to be thinking about. I think you're thinking about it in the right way in terms of what it could do for the economy, and then also future-proofing for people that might be in your community that are thinking about these electric vehicles. I didn't mention this, but I think it's important, especially, you know, we've had quite a year of storms and flooding. These batteries that are inside of these vehicles are like having 10 Tesla Powerwalls sitting in your garage. The technology is eventually going to be there that people can plug their homes into these cars and have that resiliency piece. So these EVs are not a passing trend. These are going to be, they're a really important part of resiliency, I think, for the state of Vermont moving forward. And they're just really powerful tools for people. You don't have to have a generator anymore. You know, you can plug your Ford Lightning. Our CEO over the Christmas storm plugged loads right into her Lightning and was able to run her lights, her sump pump, and all of those things. While
Just
she
don't
was
get
at
them
work.
wet.
What?
Just don't get the batteries wet.
Just don't get the batteries right?
They've had some trouble with them catching on fire and all
Well,
kinds of things.
I know
so
there's a lot of
I don't know
that.
I want them in my
Yeah.
garage, right?
I know there's a lot of that out there right now, but internal combustion engines set fire much more often than batteries, and they're very safe. And the batteries that are catching on fire are the ones that are like manufactured, the e-bikes, the e-mobility, like manufactured in not great facilities in other countries and things like that. So, and we are happy to talk through fire safety if that's a concern.
Okay, well now right this second. So Lisa, you had a.
I just want to say that I reached out to Nate, our engineer,
I was gonna ask you what he had
to see
say.
what he thought, and he said he had no concerns about it. It's not a
Okay.
problem. So that's all he said.
Okay. So I think that
Yeah.
we're open, you know,
But I
I think
don't
we're
know if we want
interested
that
and
here.
open for discussion, and there's a lot more we need to like do research and
Yeah.
figure out how much it's gonna cost to install the
Sure.
thing after and this and that, and how, you
Well,
know.
So I think the next step, you know, if obviously, you know, if we think there's interest, and I'm interested in trying to move this forward, because I think it seems timely. I think the next steps are really, let's start working on getting that grant application together. I would suggest that we get that grant application back to the select board before we submit, just to know that, so we can kind of talk over those details and understand those details. But I mean, I think we've submitted a lot of grants in the town of Groton in the last 2 years, and I think, we have a lot of resources that are good at helping with this stuff. But I think it's brought a lot of opportunity for us to bring improvements like this to the town of Groton. And I know it's a lot of projects, but at the same time, having this stuff that we know can have an impact on our community, and not just our Groton community, but the folks that are coming here to our community and visiting our community. Again, it's a resource that they could use, because I can't imagine the folks that are going to come to use the rail, as part of the VORT grant that we've got, we're improving rail trail. The people that want to access that rail trail, there's going to be people that are going to have EVs, and they're going to want a place to charge their EV, or they're not going to come here. That's kind of the truth of the matter with some of the, especially around ecotourism. Yeah. Ecotourism, a lot of those people are, they're more inclined to have and mindful of things like,
maybe we should
conservation.
have the townspeople, we should do like a survey on it too, and see what people think about all that, because if nobody's interested in it,
You have to understand, everyone that builds a new home now has to have a dedicated bank for an electric car charging, so they're not gonna come to the park to charge their car.
Right, we're talking about residents in the town.
Right.
I can understand
What
that.
you're looking for is a lot of out-of-staters or non-residents to come here and use it, and I think that that's a stretch to say there'll be a lot of people that will use it, whether there'll be enough to.
Well, we have 7 state parks, that's where they go, that's where most of the
But again,
people
that's-
go, is to the state parks.
Pulling campers from an electric vehicle in the state park.
Well, yeah, I'm still
But, I
trying to
mean-
get a tractor trailer electric
Yeah,
vehicle I
I
can
mean-
charge here, but.
Well, but there's lots of people in the state parks that aren't pulling trailers, there's lots of people that are camping, they're using camping sites, and there's.
Right.
Or just people
Right,
passing
but
through that are.
if they're gonna put them in there
every
and, everybody's gonna use, that, you gotta really figure out, like, okay, so do we put one in? And it costs the town, whatever, $4,000, and then the electric, there's a lot to kind of figure. There's electrician bill, which could be another $5,000 to put one in. I don't,
Inclusive.
okay, but you said we have to hire an electrician.
You do, but it's all, so the those install costs, electric make ready, the cost of the chargers, all of that is
Is
inclusive.
included in the grant.
In the grant
And then
cost.
we would just
And then you
have
to
the
match the
5%.
5% of that. Yep.
Okay, well, so that's a little different. I thought it was separate.
No.
And again, we look at it long term, and we can make it a revenue source to cover at least its cost of use and maintenance, et cetera, long term, because that grant money won't cover it forever, right? That's definitely something to keep in mind. But at the same time, we can utilize the resource as the revenue source to cover its own costs.
Yep. And I encourage you to reach out to Bradford, about their experience. Other communities that have thought about this, I'm happy to put you in touch with other communities that have been through the process, not through the grant, they've just put it in themselves. And just, what it's done for them, and how people are using it, and those kinds of things. We have 19 of these, I think, across the state. People are waiting in line to use them. If I'm plugged in a GMP vehicle, people are asking me if they can jump ahead of me to plug these in at Marty's First Stop, at Brattleboro, Hannaford, wherever I'm going, people are waiting in line to use these. I don't think you're gonna have an issue. I think people will be coming here to use it, passing through here to use it.
So, and what I'll say about that is I drive through Bradford quite a bit, because I drive through Bradford. Hannaford's has had a charging station at the store right off the highway, and the town of Bradford's still putting in a fast charger in town.
Yep.
So that, to me, tells me they've thought about that a little bit, and that there are people, and there is a demand for this.
Okay, so what we'll do is if anybody has any more questions for you,
Yeah.
then we can do, but we have lots more discussion. We don't need to.
Yeah.
Isn't the grant There's like a two-step process in there.
There is.
Preliminary.
There's a preliminary, we're interested, and I really encourage you to fill that out as
So,
quickly as possible.
and I would suggest that we move forward with at least the first part to get us going. And then the second part's probably more in-depth, right? Probably, where are we putting this? What's all that stuff, yeah.
But we also have people, and again, because we're helping administer this, we have people at GMP that are helping walk through that part of the process.
Okay.
So you don't have to be great at grant writing to go with this. We'll help figure it out.
And I'm happy to do the initial, if the board would like.
I guess, I'm just like, I want more
Sure.
input from the town.
Sure.
You know, I'm here to represent the
Of
town
course.
and the best needs of the town or whatever, so I want the town to be involved in being part of that decision, you know, that's all, so.
Yeah.
How would you do that?
I'm not sure yet.
It-
I mean, we can put a survey out, we can do something, but I just feel like,
Yeah.
it's not our decision to
Yeah.
just say, hey, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. It'd be nice to know what people thought of it, and are people interested, and is that a good idea for the town and whatever, and
Yeah.
so that's all.
Yeah. Might I recommend that some of those questions are about if we had something like this in town, would you consider like not just for the people, like do you have it currently, but just
Right.
do you think a resource like this in town could bring more economic, like whatever that is? Are you concerned about that? Like those kinds of future proofing, because I think for people that drive internal combustion engines, it's kind of like, well, this doesn't have anything to do with me. But I think in the future it will.
Okay.
Good, I think.
Dwayne, yeah, you said for a revenue stream, it would have to be in network?
It would have to be in the
If the town is
networks.
to obtain a revenue stream, the location of the charger has to be in network as
No,
well.
it has to be a networked solution, so you have to have internet that goes to that.
Connected via internet, I think
Yeah.
is what you
So
meant.
would the park be connected?
I'm not sure.
Well, the park's right over there, so
Yeah, I mean, we could, I mean, if we did, it wouldn't be,
That's
I
not
think the
a big deal.
gazebo has Wi-Fi.
it's not a big deal.
Okay.
You have to, yeah, that's how you could, they'd have, they'd be able to pay
Talk to
credit
my
card,
case and have
yeah.
that added to the.
Right, and even at that time, if we had
Stuff.
internet, then we might have some security
Yeah, sure.
that we added to stuff, so it might be a good thing all the way around, so. So anyways, I don't wanna waste your time.
No, not at all, this is not,
Whatever.
I've never been to Groton, and so
Okay.
it was lovely
Well, welcome
to
to
visit.
Groton.
And thank you for having me. And Dennis has my contact information, I'm happy to come back, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Dennis is
that
the
you have.
one that's,
Yeah.
got this
I
rolling
think,
and.
well, and thank you for bringing this forward, yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
thanks for taking.
thanks.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
I don't think we need.
Okay, we'll add it to
We can,
our agenda
put on
for,
our follow-up list.
yeah, our follow-up list and talk more about it. Okay, good. So, Jim,
So we're gonna jump.
okay, I don't, okay. And emergency service building, roof repair, open bids. So, we haven't received any bids.
Unless they went to fire station email.
I haven't heard anything, I haven't seen anything, I haven't anything.
heard anything, seen anything either.
Okay, so at this point, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna put it out to bid again at a later date? Are we gonna, what should be the plan? Do we wanna talk to the fire chief about this and figure out what we should do? What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fire chief is the head of service,
So,
so I
we
mean,
need
I
to talk
think it
to
would be, yeah, I think
the
we need to
chief and
reach out.
see what the next step is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I mean, I do know, obviously, that, we did have somebody that had, I don't
Right.
know if he's interested still, and we
I don't
talked to him, but I don't think he is anymore. So, I mean, I'd take it back to the chief and, go from there.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. We'll have to have, I'll reach out to Wade and have a discussion with him and see where we're headed.
Yeah, I wasn't at a meeting last night, but I know that was discussed last night,
Okay,
so, I think I'd hate to say anything without being there, but I think the decision was made if nothing happens that they'll have to just prop it up and get through the winter.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but again, I wasn't at the meeting, so I'm not.
So I'll just check in with Wade and
Yep.
figure out what the plan is and we'll move forward. Okay, so highway updates, highway culvert pricing. So, and originally I thought that, when I had talked to Harold, he said he was gonna be here because, to discuss the culvert pricing.
Right.
Which we have some culvert pricing in, but we kind of read it over quickly and I'm not really sure what that all means as far as for the town and how many
Yeah.
culverts we're looking at buying, 1 or 50 or
I
what
would assume doesn't he usually just spend his budget?
on culverts. So
Yeah, I
maybe
think
one of us need to talk to
I mean,
go over that with him.
yeah, cause I mean, I guess my question is what's the total cost? So, looking at the 3 estimates that he left, it gives us a bi-culvert price to choose from, but, you know, one of them is for, you know, 2 18 by 20 foot culverts and 10 15 by 20 culverts, but one's in linear feet and one's just a pricing list.
Right,
So I'm
so,
not exactly sure what he's looking for.
so I guess one of us
approval
needs
on.
to reach out to Harold and talk to Harold about,
4,500.
Yeah, that's what it's
That's what he's
budgeted.
got, yeah.
it's $4,500, so he's just buying $4,500
I think
worth of
usually that's
culverts
what he
from the
does is spend,
cheapest,
yeah.
the cheapest
Yeah.
supplier of culverts, is that what we do? Okay, so
Yeah, preference is one of them.
Zach, Aaron,
I can reach out to him.
Any idea who we bought from last year? Do you remember?
I
Or the
wanna
year
say
before?
Ferguson, but I don't know.
Okay. I mean, they are the cheapest for what he's
Yeah.
priced out.
right,
I'll reach out to him tomorrow and.
okay, so Aaron, you'll check
So I'll
check
give
in
you
with
the-
him, that'd be good, okay,
I'll
great.
give you the-
Okay, and we had a salt bid, do you wanna just check in with that too and just ask him, have they started thinking about that yet, or
I'll ask
anything?
about that too.
Yeah, is that good? Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Yep.
Alright, treasurer,
Tax money's coming in.
okay,
Stipends, I'm getting ready to do the stipends. We've always done it first payroll in October, so I'm working on that.
cash is fine,
And I attended a CoreLogic webinar, or we did, about how to download the tax payments when we get them. It's a big deal.
We're switching it to a portal instead of,
Hopefully it will be smoother, but it's when we get all the money, you know, and it's usually around Halloween.
all the money from the banks,
Yeah,
the
Okay.
escrow.
big,
A
everybody,
big lump
yeah.
of, yeah.
So that was just happened today, so we'll see how that goes. I guess that's it. I have something in, well, I guess
On
I
a
told you about
different
the drainage.
subject.
That's it. I think.
Okay.
I don't really have a lot.
thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
Town clerk,
We've been busy, group of us with BCA and Board of Abatement, so that's been going on the last couple weeks and the next couple weeks. For a couple grievance and then an abatement of taxes. Also, we talked to the sheriff today, he was in town and talked about being here more and, you know,
oh,
trying.
good, cause I haven't seen them at all.
He was here like all afternoon.
Okay,
And
I
he
figured
said,
he knew it was a select board meeting, cause he had somebody pulled over when I
yeah.
came through
Did
town
he?
after work, so.
So he said two trainees or whatever they're called, they're just about ready to be out on their own.
Mhm.
And one is our local person, so it'll be good that he
Awesome.
can be here later in the day and then go home. And it's
Yeah.
right here, so that will come in handy for Groton. Also talked to him about possibly two sheriffs to be here on Fall Foliage Day like we did last year. Well, I think last year he was walking and the other, they were walking in it, but he said someone else was here, so I reached out, I didn't hear back yet on that. And I had one more meeting with the FEMA people came and just a few more questions on stuff. Went over those, answered them, and hopefully it's just gonna be a smooth process with such a small amount and easy.
okay, good.
So that's all in the portal and uploaded, so I'm just waiting to hear from them for the next steps.
Okay,
Excellent.
good.
And I think that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Sherry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary.
Assistant assessor.
Okay, John and I have both gotten our approval from the, Vermont, property valuation review to do the statistical. And that, is it's a 5-year approval. So we're gonna be moving forward with that. I'm gonna be doing a webinar on standards of professional practice and ethics. It's gonna be on, October 9th, which is Columbus Day, so I'll be working that holiday. And the, last meeting, there was a gentleman here from NVDA about the grant, and I've been thinking about that, and I could use actually like a 20-hour person to do some maintenance on our maps. We have all the maps in a cabinet, and they really need some attention as far as mending and fixing them, just fixing them up, and it would be, I think, 20 hours if we had a volunteer to do that, that would be good.
Okay, do we
20
have a
hours,
volunteer?
20 hours a week or 20 hours total?
20 hours total. He
Total.
was looking for grant items, so I don't know if that could go in under that grant or not.
Oh, I remember, yeah, right, okay. I don't know that we have anybody, or, I don't know.
Right, so it would have to get approved by going to him
For the grant, for the
See
money.
if it if it can be part of the grant, and then we could advertise or whatever.
Okay,
But that would be one project that I could use some help on
okay,
if we could get the money through the grant
okay.
to pay somebody.
But if we couldn't get the money through the grant, we're not gonna do it? We
Right,
don't need the help?
absolutely.
Well, sounds like you could use the help either way, so for 20 hours, I mean, we could,
Right, but I was thinking more towards using the grant if they
Okay.
had, if it was available through NVDA.
okay.
So I don't have any of his contact information or anything, but it was just throwing that out.
We have that, right? We have, do we have anything on?
NVDA Representative Jesse Noon.
I'll have to look what I handed out.
Okay.
No.
I have what he handed out too, so, okay. All right,
That's all I have.
okay, thanks, Dorothy.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Fire and Fast, do we have any updates from Fire and Fast? I didn't get an email or anything.
I didn't, no.
Okay.
Nope. I don't.
Nothing on that. Constable, he got the signs up for the fall foliage,
Numbers on them,
which
dates.
I sent him a text and this and that. Maybe in the future, I don't know that it's really a town constable job, or the highway department, they couldn't put the sign, would think that we could have the highway
I think
department.
they did it last year, didn't they?
Anyways,
I
but
believe-
in the
I
future,
believe so. I
one of the
believe-
signs isn't really
believe
where
they did
it's
last
hooked to
year.
a sign and it's not supposed to be done.
Yeah.
So we just gotta kind of, maybe the highway department could do that for us.
Yeah.
in the-
Yep,
in-
I would think so.
Are we gonna ask Mark to be around for fall foliage?
Yes, we are, cause we need him to walk off, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I can text them.
Yes, okay, so we'll talk with Mark on that. And at some point, we're gonna need to discuss some more stuff, I guess, with the Mark and
Doing more stuff
or less stuff or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we talked about that, the money and
Yep.
for the position, and it just seems like it's not really getting used like we had originally thought it was gonna, so.
Well, I think last year during budget meeting, we said it would put this much aside for, and then
Right.
would know in a
See
year
what would
better.
happen.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll
So-
discuss that more at
Yeah.
budget time. Okay, library, is there anything from Sarah?
Your
She's
program.
just lots of programs. She's planning to do a raffle on fall foliage day and do small crafts that are
Okay.
easy. She's just gonna be open in the morning until like 2 o'clock or something,
Okay,
but everything's still going well there.
okay, good. Zoning administrator, nothing on zoning, okay? How about the health officer? Wow, this is.
Is the building slowed down, Dan, or is it? about,
We're still behind.
Yeah.
We're not gonna catch up this year to what we normally do.
yeah,
It's just, interest rates are too high and the contractors between the flood and what they had before are just 2 years out.
yeah. And, you know, I mean, you talk, for every 2 carpenters that are retiring, there's 1 going in.
Well,
You know what I mean? Which is also another factor in it also, so,
The state is changing the rules so quick, it's hard for some of these guys to even keep up
yeah.
with the rule changes.
Right, okay. Alright, well, let's see, so, and then the next thing we're on to is maintenance and fence quotes, which I reached out to a friend of mine that does fencing, and, I met with him, it's been a few weeks now, I don't remember exactly when I met with him, and I rode around, we went to the puffer field, and then we went to the frost field, and then the park, and I got, the puffer field needs maintenance, like the gates are falling off, which this all started because Steve reached out and was like, hey, you used to do fencing, could you show me what we need or where we get our stuff? And then once we met and talked about it, he's like, whoa, this is way over what I was thinking, and because it needs to be stretched and fixed and rebuilt. The gates, it's kind of looking pretty kind of ratty. So I said, well, I have a friend that does fencing or used to, work for me and whatever, and so I'm sure he'd be willing to come give a estimate on doing maintenance. So I got some numbers. The puffer field fence, gate, and repair, which he would fix all the fence and pull it up and retie it and fix the gates. That was $17.20. Then he went and looked at the frost field because the backstop is falling apart and the rails have slid down and it's a mess also. And the maintenance to repair the backstop and fix the field up, the fence the way it should be, was $22.50. And then the town park, we measured out, we walked where the old fence is, and we did that whole thing and then come up the one side so it kind of gives like a park. And we talked about whether there would be a gate to the river or not. I don't know that you really should have access to the river if you have young kids in there.
I wouldn't.
So, and right now it's just open and people go down to the river, and I don't know that they should. So anyways, there was 2 numbers for that. It was 235 feet of fence, and he put a walk gate in. The 4-foot tall option was $52.30, and a 6-foot tall option was $61.50. And those are all installed. So, and you guys can have the things. That was somewhere to start to try to figure out. We have a budget, I think,
It's about $6,000 left.
for our, and we've been talking about fencing and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I definitely think we should do some maintenance on our fences before we put new fence up, you know what I mean? Fix some other stuff. And I mean, there's other companies, I just don't know how many people to reach out to get quotes and whatever type of thing. He's just a small company and does a good job, so that's where I started. And any suggestions is great for what you guys think about.
I mean, so I think, for the ball fields especially, I mean, before the spring, it'd be, no matter what, I think before the spring, it'd be nice to get those fixed up for the kids playing ball, and we've done a lot of work on the fields too. I think it makes sense for us to keep doing that. I think the park, for me, I almost think, just looking at what fencing is, or what is the fencing that's down there in places, and the fact that, there are a lot of kids running around town playing at the park and stuff like that. I think it's a risk to not have the park fenced off along that river. I mean, it may be something we need to figure out how we pay for it in the budget.
Well, what if we did part this year and then next year we do the other part? Meaning we
Do the 2 ball fields.
fix the 2 maintenance ball fields
Right.
this year with our budget, then next year we plan on doing something with the fence, doing the fencing.
How much money did you say we have?
6,000, looks like.
So we could do both
We
ball
could
fields,
do-
that's what I was looking,
Yeah.
thinking.
Right,
Could do both ball fields this year.
and do that part, and then that
there
would
any-
cover the
Do we have any money
budget.
in a reserve fund that would be for property maintenance or town property improvement that would?
Not in the reserves,
Non-reserves.
just have what we budget for the property upkeep in the regular budget.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I mean, the priority in my mind is to fix the fields that we already have.
Yeah.
Put
You
so
know,
much
it-
money into them.
no,
And then,
for sure,
and then if we did,
Yeah.
we put together a plan and did something with the fence at the park for next year.
I think, no matter what, at some point, we need to do something with that fence.
Oh, yeah, I know,
It's a safety issue with kids down there and, you know,
When I was a kid, it was a financial issue. I must have seen $300 worth of basketballs go down the road.
yeah. And that, you know, I think that makes sense.
Can he do those in 2023, you think?
Yeah, he
Those
can do
two?
them this
Two
year,
fields?
yeah.
Wow, that's
He
great.
can.
Oh, you can do it before the end of this year?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be great
Well,
to
because he
use
doesn't,
this money.
the thing is he doesn't have, it's repair, it's not like he's putting in new.
Right, so he'll just bring down a crew, a small crew, and they'll do
Yeah,
knock it
the
out.
two fields,
Which is-
knock it
yeah,
out and
makes sense.
whatever, and
The
do
stuff
it.
down by the park is gonna take a little bit
Yeah.
more, cause it's
Yeah.
gonna be putting in posts and
Yeah.
holes
And
and
that,
stuff
well,
like
and that wasn't, when we discussed it, I said we'd rip out the old, and that he didn't quote to rip, you know, I thought we
Right.
could rip it out ourselves, the old stuff that's there, it's just wooden fence, and then he would just install
Well,
the
I
new
think, you
stuff.
know, we do that in conjunction with like the rec committee to do work down there like we've done in the past few years, and we go down there, and we pull it all out ahead of him. I mean, I think we could get some
Right.
volunteers to help with that, for sure.
And this is chain link fence, like,
Chain link fence, yep.
So you'll let him know, and then he can reach out to me, or you want me to reach out to him, so I
Well,
can get info from him? I need
Yeah,
insurance and stuff.
if that's what everybody
Yeah, I
decides.
think that's, yeah.
Do we wanna make a motion to
yes.
Yeah.
approve that? It's your friend, you wanna make a
It's
motion?
Mike Minchell,
I can do it.
that's, gonna do the fencing, I guess, for the,
Yeah, I'll move to approve having Mike Minchell, repair Puffer Field at a cost of $1,720 and Frost Field at $2,250. Coming from which fund are we taking it from?
Town property maintenance.
Town property maintenance.
Oh, upkeep.
There's your motion.
Second.
Okay.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
There you go. That'll be good for the fields, especially the ball fields.
Yeah, and, you know, we did the parking lot, we got which the town did, which was great.
Which is
and
good, looks
You know,
good.
thank God they did it,
And the
because this
flooding,
summer
they
we
held up
had,
through the flood, and that was pretty dang good.
well, it would've been a swamp. So, and actually, a lot of that field got flooded and it pulled some of that fence down, it needs to be fixed, so
right, right.
it's all part of,
But that
it held
material
up
we
good.
put down, that held up
Yeah, I know.
pretty dang good.
So that's good. Okay, good, and IT,
We did get an update from Gary too.
oh, we did get an update from Gary, and I responded to him, but I
Yeah.
forgot to put the email out, but he said that,
They've been working at the library.
yeah, and he spent a lot of time working at the
Yeah.
library, running wires for the public computer.
Yeah.
Did you guys get copied on that email too? I
Remember
can't
that?
read it out, but anyways, he's been working on the library, then he was up to the town garage working on printer stuff
Yeah.
and getting them fixed up, and then his next plan is the town offices for the 3 new computers. So that's where he's at, and I thought that was great,
Yeah.
so that's anything else for IT? Okay, and where are we at with the printer? You were gonna work with Gary, right, or your copier and scanner?
No, we were gonna wait till it broke and then we were doing something about it.
Okay, I couldn't remember. Okay,
It's still running, as of today, it's still running.
well, okay, but if we need a new one, we'll
Put it in
deal
the
with a new
You
one.
got the quote and
Yeah,
Right,
we'll put it in the budget.
Okay. Anything, planning commission, do we have
And
anything?
that,
They had a meeting this week, but
last
Okay.
night, right, you didn't go though, right, Jim?
Okay, alright, that's what we have, NEK and CUD.
Oh, you have your update.
Yeah, which I do, I have, Mike sent an email, he couldn't be here tonight on NEK broadband and what's been going on with that. The concrete pad is done for the shed structure, it's poured. The cabot was supposed to be set today. Then he sent another email that it got postponed, I guess, and it's supposed to be set tomorrow. So some of the components are going in. It said, structure will be fully installed no later than end of the year. Next month, they will be building fiber all the way down the Great Road, Minard Hill to Route 302, Scott Highway intersection. The plan is to light these addresses from the Groton OLT and begin to offer service late this year. What's the Groton OLT?
That's the cabinet, that's
Okay,
the cabinet.
possibility. Early next year, likely, with these. Oh, they're having problems with, GMP and the whole cost discuss. Remember we talked about the price of that, which is really, I'm assuming, messing them up. Well, we should ask her about
Should ask
that.
Deanna, yeah.
But anyways,
Should've asked her what all those ribbons are.
They took our money knowing that they were.
I know.
The ribbons around all the poles.
The other thing
Some of them.
is, where they set the pad is not where they had the permit.
I didn't look, oh.
And the pad, if you go down and look at it, it's like 10 by 6. It's not 20 feet long, it's not 10 feet wide. This is just.
So they didn't really follow any of the guidelines that they, so what do we do about that?
I've got to call them to her again.
Okay,
But whenever I talk to her, she's supposed to be the contact person, she doesn't know anything. So she has to reach out to someone else and then, I don't know where it goes from here, somewhere into the ether.
so
This is not a very structured thing.
kind of a little worried about that when we all started, but then he seemed like it was all gonna be going great and whatever. But
When they originally put the permit in March, they were really hot. You gotta get this permit, we've gotta do this. They moved the site, we've gotta do this. They went down and marked it off, blah, blah, blah. And then when I went down today, it was like,
not even what it's supposed to be.
no.
Well, I'm gonna leave Dan in charge of this,
Oh, I'm gonna be on.
and Dan's gonna let us know what the outcome is. And
Give it up and sock here. Like, what? And where did they do it?
Okay. Number 2, USDA Community Connect Grant. From a consultant of NEK broadband is close to the process. It's anticipated that the CCG awards will start to be announced in October for some recipients, with the bulk and the remainder happening in November or December. So federal shutdown could also push this out further. Oh yeah, I don't know.
So that was that whole grant.
Yeah.
That was
For the community center.
Yeah.
We're still waiting to hear.
I've also heard the USDA is oversubscribed in terms of applications versus their last CCG program, as many of those did not receive USDA Reconnect grant applied for CCG.
So a lot of people applied for this grant.
Yeah, okay, well,
Some people apply more.
that's kind of how these things go, I guess, so.
Yep.
Just
wait to hear on that one, yes.
VORC updates, we don't have anything with VORC, do we,
Well-
or do we?
Yeah, I talked to Mike Namias about the RFPs he's got put together, given it to the town attorney, she's agreed to do, the deeds that we need for Green Mountain Power land and the dump,
Right.
all that stuff down
Okay.
there that needs to happen, so that's getting started. They're still waiting on Gary and Mike to do an RFP for their portions of it,
Okay,
so it's slowly coming together.
And there was a check that I had to cut for the soil testing.
Yeah, right.
yeah,
That was
You
part of
guys
it.
approved,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah. Okay,
They gotta get those results back,
okay,
keep
okay,
moving forward.
all right, good. How about infrastructure project updates? Do we have anything on
The only
that?
thing I have is, an email from Nate said that he hadn't heard any concerns from the archaeologist testing.
Okay.
So it is his understanding that the alignment is good, we just need him to issue the findings. We had the attorney, our attorney, prepare an easement to cross the consolidated communication parcel, and everything else will remain within the road right-of-way and town property. We
Okay.
are still planning on a winter bid with 2024 construction.
Good,
So it's still moving forward.
thank God,
Just an
all
update.
right.
That's
We're
great.
still waiting to hear who's doing what with that deed though. I should reach out to her again because she
Okay.
was
Which-
out.
The
So
easement
she put the deed together, but now it needs to be,
sent to somebody.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
And someone signing it here, you know,
Yeah.
it's a quit claim or warranty deed, so I can reach out to her and see where that, she was out for a couple weeks, so.
Okay.
she's
Hopefully
there
she's
today.
back.
She sent me something today, so I needed.
About the deed?
No, W-9, so I could pay her, so.
okay.
She was there for that.
She'll respond to that email.
Okay, well, good. Good, I'm glad it's gonna hopefully be all ready for 2024, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Open to public and other business,
Wayne, do you have anything? Nope.
okay?
Just that, we had this in the folder received, but the insurance for the community club for the chicken pie supper for next weekend, it looks like it's overdue.
So I've already sent an email and I CC'd you guys
Okay.
on that.
I'm aware of that overdue bill,
Okay.
and I've been told that a check was mailed Monday and the company was called, but I haven't followed up on it. I'll tell you what, I will follow up on it.
Okay.
That can be taken care of. Who should I contact?
You can contact me
I will.
because they usually send it
Do you want a
reinstate-
certificate, do you want a certificate of insurance?
Yes,
I'll take care of that.
Okay, and I did send Nancy one.
Yeah, I see.
And about the other, the bills and
Yep.
said to submit a letter and blah, blah, blah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think we're happy to oblige, but it would be nice to have something that documents that.
That's that's all we were asking for,
That's
so.
been communicated multiple times previously, so.
So we'll see how this route goes. How's that? Any other business?
In regards to the chicken pie supper, does anyone know when you're supposed to come to Grafton to pick up the squash and potatoes?
No, because Nancy,
just
you need to
don't-
talk to Nancy,
I can find out. Let me see if I can find out.
right? Because Nancy's,
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know anything about
I
it.
know how much we're supposed to have.
Right.
Okay.
No, I can pay someone this.
I would have coordinated through Nancy, because she's supposed to be taking Mary's place, right?
Yeah.
Nancy,
Well, it was Nancy Hamlet.
oh,
Is it just, it's squash and potatoes?
yeah, it's 300 pounds of potatoes and 200 pounds of butternut and 200 pounds of buttercup squash.
Wow.
And it's gonna be behind the farm stand, so
I'm gonna be down there tomorrow morning.
I will,
We're setting a structure up for Royal Electric on the roof.
which one?
I don't know, that's all I know. Going to Grafton County.
Pick up the potatoes and squash.
All right.
I can pick up this.
I just sent her a text message,
Okay.
so. Mary reached out to me the other day about helping out with stuff, so.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're in charge.
I heard Zach is in charge of the whole thing.
Good. So Zach knows about it.
Everybody at 6 a.m. here, help me cook squash Saturday morning.
Yeah, that is a lot of butternut and a lot of buttercup.
I don't cut it. They do that the night before. All I do is cook it. It is a lot of squash.
Okay, is there anything else for that? Open to public, other business, okay? Follow-ups. Speed sign moved to State Road. I don't know, we haven't done anything more on that. Nothing's happened. I think I forgot to call the sheriff's department and try to see about that study that I was supposed to do. So that was my bad. I'll see if I can do that again. Okay, so we're kind of same place. Fire alarms.
I think that should be removed.
Yeah, I think we're. Yeah, I don't know what. Yep, that's fine.
That's it, alarm protection
But they
covers.
leave the alarm protection covers.
Alright.
That still needs to be done
So
before basketball season.
You'll look at that?
I'll still look at that, yep.
Does anybody know if anything, if the lights have been done in the gym or not yet?
No, the bulbs are still.
Okay.
Still here.
Okay. All right, so that, and then we need to set the agenda for select board meeting. Our next select board meeting. So agenda is
October 11th.
October 11th. What, we're gonna talk about this, should we have more discussion about the EV stuff? So we need to have that on there for more discussion.
Yep.
I'm not sure the plan for that discussion, meaning like what we need for more information and what we need to figure out and where to go with this and kind of thing.
I was thinking it could do something as simple as paper that you come in, check off your thoughts, leave it.
I just feel like
suggestion
the
box. I don't
town
know.
should be involved in
I
it,
don't know how
get
technical
people's
we wanna
thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know, the Survey Monkey is, don't like that.
I mean, we wouldn't reach enough.
Thank you,
people.
Dorothy.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
I
Dorothy.
mean, does it make sense for us to try to do a postcard to everybody and say, just, drop it off with your feedback or something and see how many we get? I mean, I don't remember how much it was for postcards.
Postcard,
for
and
the-
then you'd want to have it stamped.
Yeah,
It was a little expensive, but.
Yeah, right. It wasn't cheap.
and I don't know if people really even do any of those things and whatever. I just feel like as a board member here, we represent the town. What do people think about that? Do they think that's what we should have? Should we spend money and put a EV charger in, or everybody's like, no, this is Groton and we're gonna have gas cars and we don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's why it was like,
Not a bad idea to see what everyone thinks, but.
Yeah.
I don't think you
we've
can
got-
wait till town meeting, cause
We've
it's
got a lot of,
application.
yeah, that's right.
right,
We've got
I
a lot
know
of time.
town meeting would be easy to discuss it.
Well, and I think, there's nothing wrong with us getting through the grant process and having a plan in place and still having a
We
discussion.
could put an ad in the paper, put a thing in the paper and call Zach with,
Well, Zach, with your
Sure.
yes or no.
Sure. Tristan, what's your number again? It's on the end.
We could still put in the preliminary act, it doesn't, no obligation, just saying, yes, we are interested in being considered.
And it's the same thing, if we were granted it after we put in the second half, we could always, if it came down to it, say, no, this isn't what, the town, this is what the town decided, and don't like the idea.
which is true, but who's gonna do the application? Who's
I think Dennis.
Dennis said he would do it.
Dennis,
was
okay.
willing to do that initial, and then what Tana, I think, was trying to say was that get on the radar, that, she said especially in rural parts of Vermont, they're not getting too many requests, so we'd probably be in pretty good standing if they.
And I would like, I'd love to see a few people that want to get involved in this and actually be headed up, with you and work on this and that's how we get things done. Obviously, it's
I
hard.
think doing it at the same time is gonna be tricky.
Yeah, and I'm not even
The
concerned
idea
about
of
that.
Well, but I don't think so. I think,
Coordinate all the timing of everything.
I don't think so. I think it's a lot less complicated
I'd
than
rather
it is.
see it on its own.
Because they're gonna, once they excavate out back here, it can go in any time before it gets paid. That's really it. I mean, the biggest part of the infrastructure, the biggest part will be all of the drainage pieces that go into it, but.
The other.
So where's the
thing I'm
electricity
saying,
coming
Green
from?
Mountain
A pole?
Power thinks everyone's gonna have
Prob-
electric vehicles
pole
by
or-
2035.
I don't know if it comes
They are
off,
not.
if it's something that comes through
I
the
can
building
tell you
or.
right
They
now,
can't even handle it even if they did.
Off the
The
pole.
grid right now is not set up to handle
I know.
500,000 cars.
I
That
know.
isn't what Green Mountain Power is saying. They're saying that there's gonna be less availability because both General Motors and Ford has said by 2030, they're not gonna make passenger vehicles with internal combustion engines.
They
So,
still have trucks.
right, but what they're saying is they're kind of moving away from that. So,
So I don't know, I think we need to have more discussion on this and talk about it more and figure out, get some more opinions and see how people
Yeah,
think. And
Maybe a special town meeting.
We haven't had one of those in a while. I mean,
Be a good way to cover it.
You could have a burn.
nobody shows up to those for the most part anyways,
well,
but
but I mean,
Or you at least get a-
I don't know, we got
vibe
to,
of the
we,
town.
we
It
can
does-
discuss,
it does
we can
bring up
discuss it at the next meeting about,
Because if you're passionate one way or the other, you're gonna show up, and then you would have that group talking about it, and even, you could even have some sort of small ballot vote where we had an idea of,
right?
you know, 2/3 of the town is for it, or 2/3 of the town is against it, and then you
Right.
kind of feel that.
Well, I feel better that Nate said it's not not a concern, so it doesn't seem like it would screw up our drainage
no, I don't
No.
project.
I'm just wondering,
I
like,
don't
do
know
we
the-
really have the room to add that into this, another thing here, you know, with the fire department, the town building, everybody's using the Wi-Fi, and then we have the charging station, it's gonna get a little congested
Well, yeah,
here.
that stuff will have to get
that's-
ramped up for all the Wi-Fi. and
but
internet.
again, I mean, that's part of the discussion is where does it go?
Right, okay.
Is this the right place? I think it could work here. Does that mean that that's the place that it needs to go? Not necessarily. I think Aaron's idea of putting it, you know, in the parking at the park might not be a bad idea, or,
That parking at the park, you're talking those couple spaces across from the.
Yeah.
church.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
that is.
that's not a bad idea. I mean, again, I think there's a lot
They
of,
don't get used for the most part very often anyway, so that would be,
Make sure you
Some
know,
days
that's where
are-
your mother parks is.
well, now
Some
they
days are
don't get
busy,
used
you know,
now
it's- yeah, I'm not
much.
parking.
If we had you know, if you could plug your car, you could go have lunch in the park, or you could go down, you know, it's
Walk on the sidewalk.
more of a,
same thing here. I mean, right, you're not that far from the park, and you're not, you know,
right, it's true, yeah,
it's,
right.
it's,
Bottom line is Green Mountain Power is in for a charging station unless they make money.
We can't even get Green Mountain Power to come fix the light that's still flashing out there that
or
we've
the,
called them
or the
100
pole out
times.
here that's gotta get taken down. that's
On
still-
Main Street,
it's like-
for 2 years I've been calling them.
But I also
But I
think
think
if we put all this in and it costs us $4,000 and maybe $300 a year, and nobody uses it, after that initial cost of the 4,000, it's really not hurting us in one way too.
It's
Yeah.
true. No,
Right.
you're
It's just
right.
gonna sit there, it's not gonna cost us any
I'm
money.
pretty sure our electric budget for the flashing light on
Right.
Minor Hill is more than that every year.
Right,
Like, you know, again, it's.
No,
one of
it's
those-
true, it's,
Yeah.
it's
Nobody
true.
uses it, we're not charged for electricity, so
Okay.
that's
And
the
again,
only
I mean,
other thought
it's-
I
too.
just wanna see some more people that
I know,
are for
because I-
this whole thing
Right.
moving
My
forward
opinion
with
on
our
it, that's not
town,
everybody.
you know, and that's a good thing. So, let's talk about it, we'll put it on the
We'll put it
agenda.
together.
The next agenda, yeah.
But
Yay.
Have a
I like,
Exactly.
I like
What
the
else
idea,
needs
maybe
to
that's the discussion we have is, does it make sense to have a special town meeting for, you know, talking about this?
ET car,
Because
EV
then-
cars, right?
then-
It-
then
'cause
you
it is-
get-
It is the thing, Tom, it is the future,
It is the future, and I think that's why we have to
whether I like it or not.
thinking about it.
right.
Till I make a, electric semi-truck.
We'll just be buying our cars in New Hampshire. Vermont gets rid of
Fortunately,
them.
we live
Just don't
close
buy 'em in
enough to New
California.
Hampshire, we'll just go get gas.
Okay, well,
It's supposed to be cheaper over there.
so anything else that we need to add to the agenda at this point, I think that's.
Is Jim gonna,
We don't.
don't know?
No,
Question
I
He
mark?
talked to me at the garage, I told him I would put him on,
I would leave him off
so
then.
if I see him
No
again,
show.
I'll mention it.
He's out again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no show, then you're on.
Okay.
Okay, a motion to adjourn,
Second?
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
We're set for-
I did, I made sure.